that we've wanted to do for a number of years. Because I've been spearheading this initiative to get a commission formed, I've had correspondence with a number of people with pretty extensive resumes in the community that are well established here that have a great interest in the auditorium. Regardless of what happens, there's still going to be a need to utilize this building. Now, getting a blue ribbon committee together may give you some ideas, but the fact of the matter is the day-to-day running of this auditorium is what we're talking about, because we don't want to leave it dark. And just like every other commission in this city and the people that we just got done approving to these commissions, the beauty of a commission is you're getting volunteers from the community whose interest falls in that area and who want to dedicate their time and service to the community by serving on a commission. So I would think, and I'm not going to be one to micromanage any of the commissions because, quite frankly, we have enough to do at this table without taking over any additional responsibilities, that maybe one of the first things that an auditorium commission would do is to have a survey as to, what the best use is. I mean, they would be remiss in their responsibilities as commissioners not to bring in the best minds from the area that have a desire to improve the quality in Eureka Springs. But when everything's done, who's going to be running the auditorium? Now, the beauty of a commission is it's a volunteer staff that is dedicated to the execution of their responsibilities as outlined in this document and this ordinance that we have before us. But as a former chairman of the CAPC and as the council's representative to the CAPC, I think the CAPC made a wise decision in not putting more monies into the auditorium. Every dollar that the CAPC takes out of their revenue stream and places into the auditorium is a dollar that is not allowed the potential to advertise the city. It's just like any business. If you have a budget to advertise your business and you start cutting into your budget, taking advertising dollars out of your budget, you're going to diminish your capability to generate revenues. In a town like Eureka Springs, where our entire budget is based on tourism, when you reallocate advertising dollars to other areas, you affect the general revenue. So, to use an example, DeVito's restaurant, the more money I take out of my advertising, the more it affects my gross. So I think what the CAPC has done in the last year is commendable, because they are now taking resources and redirecting them to advertising. And if they're effective in those advertising, that grows the general revenue. And when you grow the general revenue, then you have the ability to fund all of these other things that we are faced with every day here. So if you don't believe in commissions, then you don't believe in planning, you don't believe in HDC, you don't believe in parks, you don't believe in the cemetery commission, you don't believe in the good volunteers in this community who dedicate their time and expertise to serving the community. Having an auditorium commission does not preclude you from doing any of these other things. It does not preclude you from receiving funding from the CAPC to advertise an event in the auditorium. It allows you use of volunteer time and staff, and it gives you a framework that's outlined in this ordinance on how to run the auditorium. Right now we no longer have an auditorium director. That person, as of this week, has been relieved of duties. CAPC has pulled all the funding out. We as the City Council are directing those resources back to paying the bills on the auditorium. If we can put a commission in place, then they could possibly be efficient and economical in how to use the auditorium and hopefully generate a revenue stream. So I think from just a practical standpoint of dollars and cents, that an auditorium commission, based on the fact that you're using volunteer hours, is a very good way to approach this treasure that we have that's underutilized in the community.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Mr. Powell?
I was kind of for this, and I was kind of against it until I got some of the information I was given. And one of the comments, and this is my hang-up, for lack of a better comment, committee versus commission. This was under new business city council meeting, September 9th, 1997. Auditorium request for additional funding for building repairs. Asked the city for funding for emergency repairs. They felt they needed $50,000 to repair a leak in the roof over one side of the stage, which was causing major damage, and the parapets are crumbling and the guttering that needs fixing. These things have a drastic effect on the inside. The Auditorium Commission feels they may have $6,000 to $8,000 in their budget, which might be enough to do the guttering. It was said the city has not yet paid the $6,000 the council had voted to give for expenses incurred within public restrooms. Alderman Friedland said that the city needs to spend $50,000. They'll find the money. It's like, okay, let's form a commission. If we can't do it right, then let's put it back on the council. That's what I read out of this.
Ms. Alexander, let's get you first.
Again, back to the fundamental values of having a committee to begin regrowth for our auditorium. We're not losing sight. None of us is throwing up our hands with this. We're all involved in this, and we all want it open and running. I think the CAPC at this point is best suited to keep the information they've gathered through the years, the knowledge just in every aspect of running this building together. Or they're going to have to come over and train someone else. You say they let go of them through the last year. Well, that was right through our last executive director's term. Before that, the upkeep of the building was maintained on a good schedule. Things weren't in dire need at any time. They were continually running because people were there and paying attention in that. That can happen with the committee. There's no problem with that. It's the same thing. A committee is going to be able to interchange who they are exchanging information with on an easier basis. They can come deliver information to us, to the CAPC, and be supported by both groups equally without one of us having to defer to the other. Let's see, the time limit, I was thinking at some point, we're thinking of now and then with the auditorium, and which we're always doing. We're always thinking of now and then what's going to happen later down the road with the auditorium. And we don't know. None of us know, and we can't know that because of the economics of business right now. We just can't know. Setting up a committee, something that's willing to try new things, get volunteers involved, embracing money that will control a stronger group. Through a little more time before we can hand the reins over to someone new. Commissions. So we get a commission in 4 years when it's built up the strength, shown prosperity, shown willingness through volunteers, and progressed, kept consistent. Then yes, we can give a group a powerful standing in a commission. We can't just give it out to everyone. Another thing I wanted to bring up too was that what you have been seeing done at the CAPC in the last 2 years specifically, marketing-wise, advertising-wise, is about to change quite dramatically for everyone in all of your viewpoints. The new techniques that are making cities in this country survive right now in some of our most dire circumstances, those techniques we are embracing. We've been training, we're working, we're researching, we're putting things together, and we're going to build a strong group through marketing. That marketing on the CAPC, if we have the Auditorium Committee doing their job, doing their little work, keeping the building going. We don't have to feed the money. They can learn how to make a dollar and earn their allowance if necessary. But we can keep this new growth in marketing and these dollars that are going to change the way they're laid out. They're changing. What we saw once as paper advertising is changing. It's all very simple. Well, it's not simple, but it's big.
Okay. Mr. Bear, you had your hand up.
Yes, sir. When this first came up at the last council meeting, I was in favor of the committee approach. I still am. I'm not anywhere near in favor of a 4-year committee. I think that's way too long.
Well,
and the whole approach, whether and unfortunately we can't even talk about the CAPC. That's an autonomous group. That's the reason we got the auditorium back. They said we don't want it. There's nothing we could do. All of a sudden we have a city building back, so we have to do something. I can understand both sides of the commission and the committee. I'm not against the commission aspect of it. My argument, again, for the committee before was to be able to get people from outside the area, outside the city limits, to participate, and hopefully the same people who have contacted Mr. DeVito regarding the commission would be part of that committee, and eventually, and I would set a time limit of 2 to 3 months. Time is of the essence on this. We have to do something. We know we have at least 2 events that are going to be in that auditorium soon. One of the events is going to be a two-day affair that's going to be filled to capacity. The other one, we don't know how big it is yet, but we know we've got two major events already scheduled, and maybe more that I'm not even aware of. So something has to come in. I'm not real comfortable with using commission as volunteers. We see that throughout the city on a lot of nonprofit organizations in town. Volunteers are not, unfortunately, are used to do everything, to run the show. And I think one of the reasons, and again, I don't remember, I wasn't that active in the auditorium when it was a commission, but I know that there was while it was under the CAPC, the auditorium did blossom a lot more than when it was under the commission. If that's when Mr. Freeland was on the council, it was still a commission at that point. It was still pretty dominant. We have, as Mr. DeVito said, spent $500,000 on that building. We need to do something with it. And that's what I was hoping, that a committee within 3 months can come up and give us the directions and recommendations. If we can get the CAPC back involved, I think Ms. Alexander has that opportunity while being on the CAPC commission. I don't know. That's something that's kind of out of the realm of our discussion, I think. I think what Mr. DeVito came up with, or this ordinance, is a good start. But again, I hate to appoint a commission right